Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself.
All right, welcome back to a very special edition. Today we are talking with Charles Dunn. How are you, sir?
Good, man. You can call me Charlie, if you'd like. That's my stage name. That's what I go by. So yeah, I'm doing great today. How about you, Joshua?
Doing good, enjoying the weather here in Roanoke.
What's it like there?
It was in mid 90s today and humid.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I think it was around. It was probably upper 90s. I had to go get a battery replaced in my car, so it was a little warm today. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um,
I understand that.
so yeah, what would you like to know about Charlie Dunn?
So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you became an Elvis impersonator.
Well, I was born and raised in York County, Virginia, and I'm living in Williamsburg, Virginia right now, and I've been doing Elvis since 1998 professionally. I did my first performance in 1992, and really how I got into entertaining was in high school. I was I'd never sang before. I'd never entertained at all, and I got volunteered to do a Blues Brothers skit. And at first, I thought we were going to be lip syncing, and it turns out that they wanted me to actually sing. So for my first performance ever, we used the high school band, and I went in as Charles Dunn, and I came out Charlie Dunn because after that performance, it changed my life. And I knew that the bug had bitten me to entertain. So yeah, it's been great ever since.
That's very cool. So I know a little bit about Elvis, but I don't know a whole lot. Is there any insight you can give on how to do him singing and what kind of person you think he was? Because I kind of remember, but I'm unfortunately I'm not old enough to remember those times.
Well, I mean, as far as the singing goes, my voice, luckily, my voice lends itself to Elvis, the way he sings, because I'm by no means a rock and roll singer, as you would think in the typical sense of a rock and roll singer. I am definitely a crooner. I couldn't sing rock and roll if my life depended on it. And like I said, my voice lent itself to Elvis. It was Halloween in 1992, and I went to a Halloween party dressed as Elvis, and someone there asked me if I could sing and do a performance for them. I think it was a birthday party or something like that. And I said, yeah, I can definitely do that. Well, I was kind of bluffing because I'd never sang Elvis before, and I was kind of out of my comfort zone. What I did was I went home, and back then in '92, the backing tracks weren't nearly as prevalent as they are now, and I learned four Elvis songs and went to the party. The DJ at the party said, you've got some real talent. You should pursue this. So I have been doing it ever since, and I have loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it sounds like all the impersonators that are out there, from everyone that I've talked to, and I've talked to a few bands also that have come across you and actually told me to get in contact with you, and they all say the same thing, that you're one of the number one Elvis impersonators out there.
I don't know about that, man. Um, I'm I'm all right, man. But there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of great Elvis impersonators out there, and I know a lot of great Elvis impersonators. I appreciate the compliment. I just I tell you what, I just love what I'm doing really, and that's what counts.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So, what venues have you played in, and do you have a
I definitely have a favorite. I've played in Vegas, of course. You have to. That's kind of a rite of passage if you're an Elvis impersonator. I played at Baltimore Convention Center. I've done a ton of corporate gigs, a lot of festivals. I did the Elvis Festival from 1998 to 2008 when they actually closed it down. And I also did that for Yorktown Fourth of July celebration. Those were like back to back performances. The one though that really stands out is I did a performance here in Williamsburg at the Kimball Theater, and it's a 500 seat house, and we sold it out, and I had a ball. It was great. We got hooked up with some very talented musicians, and that I'd actually never played with before. We had about 2 or 3 weeks to rehearse and learned all the songs, and that was just a very memorable experience for me because it was a perfect venue for an Elvis impersonator.
very cool? And when you played in Vegas, where did you play at?
Mm. Actually, it was for and this was not an Elvis convention. It was for a marketing convention that I worked with a guy in marketing. He was vice president of marketing at the company I worked for, and he was going out to speak. And he said, I want to hire you to come out. There's going to be a huge group of people out there. So he paid my fee, he paid my plane fare, the hotel, and I went out there, and the I think the crowd was, I don't know, 700, maybe 1,000. Big convention, and did my set and had a ball. Actually, got my picture taken with the director of marketing at the Paris Hotel and Casino where I performed. So that was fun.
That sounds really cool. That'd be one place I'd like to go would be Vegas. So that's definitely a big tourist destination from what I hear.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and the you know Elvis is synonymous with Vegas, and so I just thought it was a great opportunity for me. Um, and like I said, I had a ball out there. I just wore the jumpsuit through the casino sometimes just for fun. But funny thing is people would take a look at me as dressed up in my suit there, but I can walk into Walmart here in Williamsburg and nobody pays attention to me in my Elvis suit. I really thought that was funny because after a gig, I just went in there to get something. I forget it was. Maybe it was milk. And nobody said anything. It's kind of
That's
funny.
weird, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I guess they've seen it all, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that at least somebody would come up and say something.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, so it's fun. It's fun. The thing I love most about what I do is, I mean, I just love to entertain and be the front man. It's kind of a tie between being an entertainer first and a singer second, because if you can entertain a crowd, if you can engage a crowd, that's something special. You know.
Definitely. Now, a lot of people who are familiar with Elvis will know that he had a lot of moves, but they looked sort of simplistic. Are they easy to imitate or emulate?
Some of them are. Some of them are actually not easy, especially the '70s. I mean, the younger Elvis moves, because most of what I do is 1968 forward. which 1968, his comeback special, in the black leather. Most of what I do is that era up to, I would really, I would say from an appearance, maybe up to 72, because I'm the thinner, younger looking Elvis. CharlieDunnMusic.com. That's a shameless plug.
Nothing wrong with that.
uh, but yeah, those were, I mean, inherent to how he got into his performances. He created his own moves, and some of them are hard to emulate. So, but you have to kind of let yourself go in the performance, because I mean that's how Elvis did it. You have to sing with heart. You have to play with heart and entertain with everything you've got. And every performance I do is definitely a workout, and that's no joke. I was at the Hilton in Virginia Beach at the oceanfront last Friday, and I did a party there, and it was it was quite a workout. I mean, I actually do stretch before I go out there, to make sure that I'm good and warmed up. It's it sounds crazy, but it's part of what you have to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, it sounds like, as far as how active he was on stage, even into the latter part of his life, it's a lot of movement.
Yeah, and people don't realize that, because you know Elvis moved around a lot. He did not stand in one place. Many entertainers do, and if you really want to put on an authentic Elvis show, you've got to put everything you've got into it, like he did. But boy, I'll tell you, it takes it out of you. But while you're doing it, you don't think about any of it. It's just living in the moment and enjoying it. You know?
Oh yeah. Now, when it comes to your performances, do you put a little bit of yourself into that performance?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. At this point, with the number of performances that I've done, uh, they're Charlie Dunn is built into my performances, because a lot of the comments I get are just my personal engagement between songs, and the banter, and that's me. That's Charlie Dunn. I have a sense of humor. I don't take myself very seriously, and I think that's important when you're out there, because a lot of people don't realize the type of sense of humor Elvis had. I mean, he really enjoyed practical jokes. He was very loose on stage, and there again, by no means do I try to act like Elvis. What you're hearing between songs is nothing but me just having fun. And there's a lot of me in it, because a lot of people now have said, "Oh, you sound like Elvis. You walk like Elvis," and I've been doing it for so long that I don't think about it. It just is, you know.
Yeah, it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing with the moves. I've been doing it for so long that it's like I it's just I don't think about it as a mechanical move like I did early on when I was trying to learn those. It just, comes out naturally now. And like I said, there's a lot of Charlie Dunn in that performance.
And
It's fun.
it almost has to be though, just because it wouldn't be as fun. At least I wouldn't think so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, there again, I've seen a lot of guys, who are trying so hard to be Elvis that you can't lose yourself and be in the moment if you're trying so hard. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and that's one of the funnest parts about it is, I like I said, I don't take myself too seriously because you're out there to entertain and have fun, and the big thing is entertaining because Elvis was an entertainer.
So when it comes down to the outfits, do you have a wide range of stuff that he wore?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got of course, I've got the black leather. I've got the gold lame jacket that he wore in the '50s that was really popular. I've got an outfit he wore um, in a movie he did called Speedway. I really loved the outfit, and so. Uh, by the way, my mom actually makes all of my jumpsuits. So all of my clothes. She's a great, very talented person. She will make the suits. I will embellish them. So if you go to my website and take a look, all of those are handmade by my sweet mother. So I have to give her the credit there.
Oh yeah.
She made me and she made the suits. So
Now, I know when you see Elvis impersonators, whether it be on, on TV or anything like that or online, a lot of people will have the white jumpsuit.
yes, yes, and I tell you that's Joshua. That's one thing that I would love to get uh, to be able to use other suits. However, that is synonymous with Elvis. So that white jumpsuit, which is the Aloha from Hawaii jumpsuit, it's the American Eagle jumpsuit, is what it is. It's the most requested outfit. I've actually gone through three of them. I'm on my third one now because that's the one people want to see, and it's for me as a performer, as it would be with any performer. Of course, I would prefer to wear a different outfit. I like the black leather because it's sleek. It's kind of timeless. I think. Um, but the requests I get are always for that eagle jumpsuit. So that's definitely the most popular.
And in regards that I've seen on Elvis on YouTube or online, it seems as though he's always in some sort of variation of a white jumpsuit rather than, like you were saying, the black suit.
Yes. And during his later years, he was, I mean, the last 2 years that he toured, he wore a white jumpsuit, which was called the sundial suit. And I don't know if that was just his favorite suit, but that's what he wore for those last couple of years that he was alive. Um, he did have, powder blue jumpsuit. I don't have one of those. I've got a red jumpsuit, the Burn in Love jumpsuit. I've also got one of my favorite jumpsuits is the fringe, uh, which obviously it's got fringe going. It's a pretty other than the fringe, it's pretty understated. But I love that suit because I call it my interactive jumpsuit because when you move, the fringe moves, so it creates a lot more movement in the performance, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So when it comes to some of the songs that he did, do you have any favorites or any top requested stuff, or do you have a certain set that you do?
well, there are ones that get requested. Um, I have a standard set list. If no one makes specific requests, I will stick with the most popular songs that he sings. Um, My Way, Burning Love, Love Me Tender, Suspicious Minds, those types of things. Um, if it were up to me, well, first of all, my favorite Elvis song is uh, Polk Salad Annie. which is a song that was originally recorded in 1968 by Tony Joe White. And Elvis did what he always does. He took that song and made it his own. And if you go out on YouTube and type in Polk Salad Annie Elvis live, there is one particular version, which is the first time he ever sang it. And that one is the best version out there because he actually pulls out the lyrics to the song during the performance and reads them to himself and puts him back in his jumpsuit and continues to perform, which I think is hilarious. But that's the best version because I think he was fresh. Um, his drummer was, on it, and like I said, that's by far my favorite song. Um, I've actually, you know, we did a 6 minute version of that. Gosh, we did a 10 minute version of it one time because it's just so organic, um, and we allow the players to play. Um, so that one's the best.
When it comes to the music that he did, would you say it's kind of like a mix or a cross between rock and blues?
It is, you know, to me, it is real original rock and roll. And there were some definite blues chord progressions. The main blues chord progression is 145, and a lot of his early material was standard blues progressions. However, when you move into the late 60s, 70s, I mean, he was doing some really, really great stuff. That's one of the things that I don't think people realize is how good the material is that Elvis did. Because when you perform it with a band, and I purposely like to keep my band with as few people as possible to actually uh, put the song first, because when you remove the horns and the backing vocals, it you really realize how good and strong those songs are and stand by themselves. That's what I love about it, because it's like I get to put my own spin on it. And like I said, when you subtract all those people, because I've done many shows where it's just a three-piece band and it works. And that's when I realized how great these songs are. And I don't know that I think people pay more attention to, obviously, the flashy jumpsuits and that sort of thing. But the reason he has stayed so relevant is because the material is still relevant. It's, everybody likes that material.
Yeah, and sometimes less is more.
Yes, I totally agree. We took um, a little less conversation, which was redone in 2003, kind of a almost like a techno type version, and we tore that down to, you know, used it with my three-piece band, and it there was so much of a groove and a vibe to that song that you don't get when you hear it with all of the other instrumentation. Um, and that's where it's interesting. That's what I love, because we get to pay tribute to the music that he sang, as well as Elvis.
Right. Yeah, and I know for my generation and further up into the newer generation, I don't think they quite appreciate when he started because I think reading and watching some of the stuff that they did on him, it was kind of it was revolutionary for the time, and a lot of people didn't like it back then.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Elvis was the first real rock star, and now that is he was revolutionary. He was the first person to draw the crowds that he did. Everything he did was, I mean, he was the first rock star that really embraced the flamboyant clothing, for lack of a better term, and he loved his custom clothing, and he just did so many things that no one has ever done. Because I think prior to him, it was well, prior to Elvis, the number one song that was on the radio was "Hot Diggity Dog Diggity," and to go from that to "That's All Right, Mama" is quite a leap if you think about it.
Yeah, and to think of where things started for him and then where we are now, and the fact that sometimes our movies you'll hear his songs, and then he's just as popular as ever. I mean, I know you touched on that earlier, but you can't be more right.
Well, and what is interesting about that is, you know, some people approach me and they say, "Oh, you your audience is probably getting older," and you would be surprised because I did a wedding in December, and it was up in Richmond, and the groom had requested that Elvis be there. So I went. Like a standard gig, I went in. I did my thing, and the vibe and the people really, really made that event one of my favorite performances because we're talking a group of 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and they loved Elvis. They were requesting songs that, that are kind of almost B-side songs that I don't normally sing, but I sing them that night because I couldn't believe that they were actually requesting these songs. But it was great. I ended it with an encore of Suspicious Minds, and that was the perfect ending for that event. But I'll tell you, Joshua, there's also certain times when you perform and there's an energy that you get from the crowd that is you just can't duplicate, and that is one of the most unique feelings, and that's where you kind of I can understand rock stars being addicted to that and then having to come down from that after a show because it's really interesting. It's more than just a performance. It's energy. It's feeding off the energy of your audience.
Yeah, I've heard it's a real adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, um, I cut my teeth on backing tracks with Elvis. Elvis backing tracks. I still do shows with backing tracks. Um, so I'd performed for years doing that, and I've got to say that I I greatly prefer performing with a band because of the risk you take when you perform with a band. Because it's you never know what's going to happen, and that's what makes it fun. I've told many people that I go to open mic nights because they're just fun, because you never know what you're going to get, and you never know how a song is going to turn out. But that's what I love. That's what makes it special. Um, and sometimes it works. Hey, sometimes it doesn't. But it's that experience of working with different musicians, and it helps me to hone my skills as far as leading the band and cueing the band, which is fun. Elvis's cues, you could not miss them. If you look at his performances, they are, everybody knows his cues because they are extremely blatant, which I think is hilarious because it allows me to go into a situation with a band that I've never played for and be able to direct them, which is fun. It's just there's no other feeling like that.
Yeah, and you know, not being a performer myself, but talking to people, it seems like that when you do stuff like that, it helps keep you sharp, and you never know, you might reach a whole demographic of people that may or may not know who you are.
Yes. I mean, that actually happened last Tuesday. I went to an open mic night because I was looking at auditioning a new guitar player, and it's a great open mic night. It's here in Hampton, and actually the bass player that's part of the house band actually played with Bob Seger on his last tour in 2020. So the musicians are no slouches here. We're talking professional musicians, and we had not rehearsed any of the songs and just got up, and some of them were pretty straightforward. We did a little less conversation, which you have to kind of know where the breaks are there. But they embraced the music. The crowd embraced the music, and that's what's so funny. I mean, you've got this crowd of people that I've never performed in front of. I've never seen any of them, but by the end of the night, you know, once they see you perform, everything changes. It's and I get to meet more people. That's what's so much fun.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. So when it comes, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Of course, there are conspiracy theories out there everywhere, but what have you been to Graceland?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been there. Actually, I went in '97, and they have since changed it and added a lot more um, to the on that's on display now. And but it's interesting because it's nothing like you would. It's not a huge house, it's pretty average size. I mean, he did add on to it, but um, it's a house from the '70s. Obviously, I mean, decorated from the '70s. I think that's what's great about it. It's a time capsule. So yes, I've been there.
The conspiracy theories about him was still being alive, living there, or still being alive in witness protection. I have to ask.
There's no way that would happen. Elvis, Elvis did what he did because he loved to entertain, and I'll never forget. I was reading a book about Elvis. Um, I'm not sure if it was. I can't remember which one it was. However, it was him and one of his buddies. They were eating in a restaurant, and nobody recognized Elvis. They were just there eating, and so Elvis went up, went to the bathroom, came back. Still, nobody recognized him. So he did it again because he just wanted to get that attention. It's just, and it's funny because I don't think there's any way that he would be able to contain himself because he enjoyed performing and he enjoyed giving. Um, that's probably one of the most unique things about him is I don't think people really realize he was truly a giving person. He didn't pay his bodyguards very well, but he would buy them homes. Um, he went to a car dealership and he was buying himself a car, and there was another lady there, and he bought her a car. He just and he was the type of person who would remember your name when you talk to him. And obviously, these are all things that I've read, but I think that was his magnetism.
Yeah, and it gives you an insight on who he was just as a person.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's crazy because he was picked on as a kid and made fun of, and obviously he grew up with that kind of background, so I think he really really valued people. Um, and it's very unique, um, because that's one piece of what made him Elvis, and it's just like him having the sense of humor that he does. I think sometimes, you kind of almost put Elvis on this. He was a person, just like every other person. And he just gave so much, not only on stage but off stage. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So what all do you have coming up?
Mm, I've got a lot of my gigs are private gigs. Like I said, the one last Friday was for a it was for a convention at the Hilton Hotel. I've got a couple of smaller birthday parties that that I'm doing. I just got booked for a show, which is a um, it's a very large retirement community. It's a very nice community here in Williamsburg, and they have a summer concert series, so they were getting ready for that. And it's really interesting because I will get it seems like the gigs come in waves, because last week I got three requests for shows, and I got a call today, and it may be a month or so or 2 months, and I won't have one because I don't have a standard place where I perform. I mean, that would be fun, uh, but I will really play, anywhere, festivals, corporate events. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I've got some birthday parties coming up. I've got gigs with the band coming up. Um, so it's you could probably see me anywhere, and you might see me at open mic somewhere too.
There you go. Now, if somebody wants to request you, did they just go to your website?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can go to my website. I mean, my phone number's there, my email address is there. Um, and give me a call. I love meeting new people. I love talking to new people. Uh, and we can book from there, because a lot of my bookings come from word of mouth, really, because I don't work through booking agents per se. I am out there on thebash.com, uh, but I prefer people to contact me directly through charliedunnmusic.com. It's so like I said, I don't usually like working with agents because I want to be able to choose my gigs. If I don't feel comfortable with a gig, I'm not going to do it. Um, and it's not about money. It's about enjoying what you're doing. So you know, it's fun. I tell
Yeah,
you.
and I think I found you on Facebook, but I also found you on YouTube.
Oh, did you?
I did.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, the first day you messaged me back and sent me the link, I went to the YouTube channel and subscribed to it and watched some of the stuff you had on there.
Yes, it's because I've got stuff from, gosh, I've got stuff from the Kimball. I've got stuff from a show we did when COVID first hit. Everybody was indoors, so we did a live broadcast from through Facebook. That was fun because it was the first time I'd ever played with the drummer. He just came in and we just had a ball. And like I said, that's what I love most is feeding off of the band, because there's nothing like that experience.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. Hey man, it's been a pleasure having you on. This was very, very fun.
I mean, hey, I love it. And yeah, I mean, you can. I don't know if you can see that in my videos, but I mean, I really do. I love what I do. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Definitely. And I'm going to put the word out because we have a venue here. It's a smaller one,
Hmm.
but it's Dr. Pepper Park, and they do outdoor concerts. So, I'm not real good friends with the owner, but I've done podcasts with her, so I'll reach out to her, and try to get you guys in touch.
That would be fantastic. That would be great. Like I said, I look forward to meeting new people, new venues. It's always fun, you know.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to chat with me.
Well, definitely, you were very welcome. I enjoyed it as well. My apologies that the video did not work correctly.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, it happens. Technology.
Yeah, it is crazy. But yeah, Joshua, thank you for allowing me to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have to do it again.
Definitely, definitely.